Good day, I'm Marina Kim, and these are the latest news from Kazakhstan. Human rights experts claim 250 inmates of Akmala region prison involved in the mass self-mutilation, while the official sources reported 14. Almaty metro construction workers are on strike, demanding to pay off the salary debts. Residents of the Almaty city's Bostandik district protest against the demolition of their premise. The Akmala Regional Internal Affairs Department had instigated criminal cases against the inmates who had put up a fight in the colony number 166/25 and against those who have provoked the Mass Self-Mutilation Act. This was reported by Interfax agency. The criminal cases were instigated upon the articles the imprisonment, term evasion and willful disobedience of orders of the penitentiary authorities. On August 10th, number of inmates had put up a fight, after which cut their stomachs open. 9 inmates were hospitalized on Tuesday, while 5 more were brought to the hospital on Wednesday. New prison victims testify the claims of the human rights advocates, which declined the official penitentiary statistics. According to Vadim Kuramshin, the bloody action held in Akmala prison involved about 250 people. Convicts as well as their relatives claim that the largest in the history of Kazakh penitentiary system protest action was resulted from unbearable detention conditions. We got hold of human rights expert Vadim Kuramshin over the phone, and he told us about the situation in the Granitny prison.
This is one of the top 3 fierce prisons in which the severe beatings and tortures are the norm of detention. Every day after having a breakfast, all of the inmates are subjected for beating. I got a phone call from some of the convicts who reported on skyrocketing figures. They told me that administration doesn't allow all injured out of the hospital, except for those in critical condition. The convicts' rights are violated on all levels of the penitentiary system. After visiting the Astana CE-12 investigation ward, Kazakh Human Rights Bureau specialists received more than a dozen complaints on detention conditions, which can be evaluated as unbearable. Situation remains the same since the beginning of the year. The water pipe is in critical condition. Cells held in extremely anti-sanitary conditions accommodate up to 14 inmates, while it should no more than 10. This is done despite the fact that there are free cells available in the colony. Complaints also include systematic groundless beatings of convicts. Meanwhile, the human rights experts do monthly remind the administration that the convicts' rights are also subject for protection. Administration has been undertaking explanatory work amongst inmates, even though in specific way. On Friday, the inmates said they have rats running around the cells and complained for poor medical service. But on Monday, they said they actually saw rats outside of the building and medical services rendered even once a while, but okay. I only can say that they have probably been pressured by the administration. The penitentiary system is a reflection of the society which creates it. 63,000 out of 16 million population of Kazakhstan held in prisons. In other words, every 255th citizen of the country is in jail, which is not normal, say human rights experts. The summer 2010 statistics indeed impressive. In June, 13 inmates of the maximum security prison in northern Kazakhstan have conducted a mass self-mutilation act in protest of unbearable detention conditions. Similar revolt was registered in one of the Almaty pre-trial detention centers, where more than 30 convicts have cut their stomachs open because of the same problem. To the question why this happens systematically, authorities seem to mitigate the information to maximum extent. The convicts are not the main problem in prisons. The problem is in corrupt management, which let the inmates do many illegal things. And of course, the poor state provision is also the problem. The protest actions are held on the loose as well. For the 3rd day, the construction works of the Almaty metro has been suspended because of the strike in protest of salary back pay. Yesterday, protesters have clashed with the company security officers as they attempted to meet the South Korean Uranus CNA management. The Almaty metro is experiencing problems again. The employees of the South Korean Uranus CNA company, subtracted for laying the line between Almaty and Raimbek, are striking for the 3rd day. Workers have not been paid salaries for 3 months. An attempt to get an audience of the company's top manager, Mr. Kwon Ken-jin, ended with a scuffle. The security guards didn't let the outraged workers in.
In any case, the Korean company seems not possessing the money. Meanwhile, in February this year, the general contractor Almaty Metro Kurilish had transferred in advance payment of about $800,000 to the account of the company. To the question what happened to the money, company's leaders kept silence. Where is the money? In the meantime, 15 more people intend to join 48 strikers within a few days. Workers are sure that the money is misused by the director for his personal needs, while their families in Kentau are barely surviving for 3 months. He will be renting a dormitory for $10,000 US. When he just arrived, he has been paying for housing about 3,000 or 4,000. This is how he spent off his money. Another question remains topical: why this particular company from South Korea was chosen as a subcontractor. Murat Ukshibayev, an ex-leader of the Almaty Metro Kurilish, who currently leads the Metropolitan company, had admitted during an interview over the phone that there was no tender at all. Why was this company chosen? What they have proposed, we never done it, so we invited them to train our staff, but instead they have trained them for striking. Murat Ukshibayev assures that the metro will be launched on time, even if they will have to complete the work on behalf of the Korean company. However, no one can answer who will compensate the 800,000 budget money paid to Uranus. It became known that Almaty City Prosecutor's Office will take the issue under its control.
A visit to the city court with a mop and wipers was evaluated as an unsanctioned rally. The chief editor of the Golos Respubliki, the Voice of the Republic newspaper, Tatiana Trubacheva, was fined for $500 for the attempt to clear out the judicial system. Journalists came to the court with cleaning items to appeal the court's decision to detain their colleague Zhanna Baitelova for 10 days.
No clear-outs are allowed without the sanction of the authorities. Tatiana Trubacheva, the chief editor of the Golos Respubliki, the Voice of the Republic newspaper, was fined for $500 by the Almaty City Inter-District Administrative Court yesterday. A day earlier, the same fine was ordered to 4 other journalists who organized the clear-out action in the city court building. It was held in support of Zhanna Baitelova, who was ordered for 10-day arrest for spreading the manure in the Almaty City court building. The law enforcement practice of Kazakhstan shows that it is impossible to get a permission to hold a rally ever. So by these actions, we may actually break through this tradition and in the end will achieve cancellation of the law, which violates our rights. Both Zhanna Baitelova and the newspaper team which came to support her claimed that the judicial system is not fair towards the civil society and oppositional forces. The Almaty courts are not independent and fully controlled by executive branch of power. None of the sentenced activists pleads guilty and regrets about their actions. Therefore, the activists intend to continue holding the actions, this time against the powerlessness of the judicial branch.
The verdict on oppositionist Yermek Narymbayev remains the same. He's sentenced to 4 years of minimum security prison. Yesterday, the supporters of the Arman Mortgagers movement leader have twice claimed declination of the judge Yermikhan Dildabayev during the trial yesterday. The claims were rejected, and if the judge disqualification request was reviewed for 2 hours, the trial itself lasted for 30 minutes only.
The appeal court has rendered a judgment. The sentence dated June 23rd on Narymbayev Yermek remains unchanged and appellation unsatisfied.
Yermek Narymbayev is charged with criminal contempt and rejection to law enforcement authorities. However, his supporters claim this is nothing but a politically motivated case, as the convict was one of a few people who could criticize the authorities openly by participating in protest actions, even demanding the resignation of the president of Kazakhstan. Yesterday, lawyer Bahit Bimanov requested the court a new sentence because of the convict's family circumstances, as Narymbayev has got 3 underage children and a mortgage apartment. But the outcome, as activists say, was rather predictable.
It was obvious that the court will make such decision because the judges know beforehand what resolution to make. There is no justice here.
In the meantime, activists of the Gastad public organization in Aktaber are being pressured by the authorities. Local administration, law enforcement officials and even the clergy demand the activists to call out their lawsuits on the Aktaber regional administration head Ilsiusin Sagindikov. On August 9th, the oppositional activists filed lawsuits against the official, demanding him to apologize publicly for offense and compensate the moral damage. Officials of all levels managed to visit all 5 activists who filed lawsuits during the last 3 days. They didn't even hesitate to tell Nurlan Mambetov that they came upon request of city mayor Arhimed Mukhambetov and were interested in his welfare. While the head of the Marktuk Internal Affairs Department of the Aktabe region personally asked the imam of the local mosque to influence on Nazhat Shahom. He said, quote, "This is a month of Ramadan and it is important to forgive the mayor and call back the claim," end quote. In the meantime, Gulnara Janova was threatened in front of her children, which witnessed the explanatory visit. "I was holding my 2-year-old baby and my 15-year-old daughter was standing behind me and she said, 'Mom, maybe you shouldn't do it. How can I look in their eyes if give up on this after all?'"
Residents of the Almaty's Bostandik district held a rally in front of the local court. The municipality intends to demolish their premises and take away the land for its needs while offering a compensation, the amount of which, say residents, is too small. Therefore, people refused to leave their houses. The city administration had initiated a trial on this issue, and desperate residents came to the court with posters reading, "We are judged for our own premises."
We, the citizens of Kazakhstan, are being thrown out from our apartments. Where are my rights? The Bostandik district administration has initiated a trial against the residents of one of the central residential areas of Almaty. It is planned to demolish the houses and use the land for state purposes. In exchange, the state is paying a symbolic compensation. People are trying to defend their right for property by organizing a protest action. People understood that we, the ordinary people, have no rights. We don't even have rights for our own property. The state simply can throw us away and support some businessmen who have money. The family of Rosa Yefaeva lives in this house since 1976. For 1/3 of a century, there were rumors that the house is set for demolition, but there were no scandals. The woman says that she has no place to go with her 2 grown-up children. She even agrees to sell the apartment, but for the market price. However, the developer says Rosa used threats instead of negotiations. They should not use pressure because it influences people. Our neighbor is feeling bad now because she has high blood pressure. 4 houses were already dismantled. People were paid $20,000 for each 100 square meter of land. There are 12 buildings set for demolition in total. The majority of landowners were not satisfied with the amount of compensation. The biggest land lot make up 300 square meters, which means that people will have only $60,000 at best. The amount is modest, taking the Almaty living standards. The state authorities assure that the land is needed for the state, but according to the residents of the premises, the district administration is trying to meet the interests of the private developer, which is Central Plast Company.
A first-ever twin NGO was created in Kazakhstan. The ruling Nuratan party had organized the public foundation Right for Housing, which is also joined by interest holders, but only those who get real aid from the state. Instead of solving the real problems, the state is concerned about its image in dealing with them. Next report examines why Kazakh authorities employ the outdated PR technologies in dealing with social problems.
The presentation of the new public union was held in Astana. The Right for Housing organization is intended to protect the interests of those for whom the housing issue is not a mere word. However, instead of presenting its own achievements, the organizers of the press conference have belittled the activists of the For Worthy Housing Public Union. The organization For Worthy Housing is conducting hunger strikes, and we think that these actions are wrong. It is impossible to solve the problems just sitting at home on the sofas. We think that it is necessary to appeal to the law enforcement bodies. Zauresh Batalova, the leader of the aforementioned organization For Worthy Housing, whose members are hunger striking for already a month, decided not to respond to the slander by saying that on the first day of the holy month of Ramadan, she doesn't want to get into debates. According to Batalova, the creation of another non-governmental organization with a similar name is nothing but a distracting maneuver. They're trying to reason and show the situation from a positive angle, and it seems that this is part of political technologies which have been already used on political parties. According to Kanat Ibragimov, who is a master of expression, artist and a political technologist lately, these are old methods. However, in Kazakhstan, where the civil layer is too thin, they still work. This is a total Kazakh know-how. The movements of the interest holders are widely known and they are even more active than the political activists. I would like to congratulate our authorities that they have created a first clone of the interest holders. Ibragimov doesn't doubt the effectiveness of this primitive move. The Nuratan PR specialists have chosen a proper audience, says the artist.
These were all the latest news for today. See you tomorrow. Take care.